Will AI turn America into a socialist republic? Yes, I think it could possibly happen. It is possible. But before I get into my personal opinions and facts about that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what AI actually is. AI, or artificial intelligence, is basically computer programs, apps, and robotics that on a minimal level probably do benefit mankind. However, there's a huge downside to this that I think will be a lot bigger than the upside or the positive side. AI stands to eliminate, in my opinion, based upon my research, about 50 to 60% of the jobs in this nation over the course of the next few years. You could have massive problems with this. Massive issues. So there are benefits, but there's a lot of problems. And I'm going to talk about what I think the problems could end up causing in this nation in this video. Keep in mind, if you see it, you know what's happening. Meaning, if you see people in your community, in your neighborhood, in your county, that are losing their jobs or their careers because of AI, you know this is happening. It's real to you and it's real to them, and you know it's happening, regardless of what the mass media tells you in this nation or anywhere else. Like Ronald Reagan used to say, he had a famous quote about this, and I'm going to paraphrase that in a moment. I was not necessarily a huge fan of Reagan, but he was really good in certain areas, and from time to time had some really funny quotes, such as in the 1984 presidential debate with Walter Mondale. He had some very funny quotes in life, and I'm going to paraphrase him right now. The quote more or less was that when your neighbor loses his job, it's a recession. When you lose your job, it's a depression. In this video, I'm going to talk about the pressure points and bullet points that I think could lead us down into a socialist or some sort of a socialist republic because of AI. So here is my summarization on this important issue. Many service level sales jobs at the low end and the high end of the economy, I think, will be eliminated. There'll be sales jobs, service level jobs, a lot of jobs in things like movie theaters and malls are going to be gone because of this. It's all over the internet, folks. Even the mainline business magazines are saying this. It's starting to leak out. The business establishment in this nation doesn't want the public to know what's about to happen to the vast majority of their jobs. But it's starting to leak out, in my opinion. It's not just coming out in independent sources on the internet. Here's what I think will happen. And I've talked about some of this in some other videos. You may want to take a look at those too. People will become more dependent on the federal government. You will have people on unemployment just about forever. And many more will be on SSI, SSDI or disability, and Medicaid to essentially retire out of the labor force. And that is going to start happening at much younger ages, in my opinion. Essentially, they're going to be more dependent on the central government. Those that can will take buyouts from corporations, probably in their 40s. Ageism and AI will destroy the workforce to a certain degree, in my opinion. It's already happening. The two are completely connected. Trust me. I was the victim of age discrimination in my 40s when it came to jobs. AI and ageism in corporations or corporate America are heavily connected, in my opinion. When AI starts bulldozing the jobs, they're going to first start getting rid of the older workers that are in middle age and in their eyes are making a lot of money. They are going to be the first to go because I think they want to set up the mandatory retirement age in this nation to be about 48. I call it the 20-year gap. where you will be booted out of the workforce 20 years or more before Social Security kicks in. They are now talking about my generation, which is X, collecting in their late 60s. That could be almost 20 years down the road for me or for many others. People will naturally mostly be dependent on government programs at much younger ages. That's the road into a social democracy with higher taxes or socialism like what you have in Scandinavia and Northern Europe. They're predominantly Lutheran countries that are social democracies. France is another example. It's all over Europe. It's kind of like watered down socialism. The government takes care of you with much higher taxes. Now look, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not a socialist. But you still have to have a social safety net. I'm saying it is. I think this is what's going to happen to America. And in the long term, this may not be a sustainable system either way. The truth comes down in the middle, and I think we need to heavily reform the capitalist system in this nation if it's going to survive. Face it, people in a few years may be retiring in the range of 38 to 48 when it comes to ages. It will be a financial disaster for the federal government. As I stated earlier, I think corporate America is trying to make the mandatory retirement age about 48 in this nation. This is a very scary thing. I started going into self-employment in my 30s. People are starting to connect the dots. If we're not careful, you're going to have massive dependency out there because of AI that's going to lead us into socialism. That's one of the reasons I think AI in certain areas should be stopped by the courts and by unions. That's already starting to happen. I actually believe this nation, our great nation, is going to regret ever going into this when it comes to certain things like robotics and other programs. We're going to regret it because the downside is going to be so extreme. Those who are working are going to end up paying extremely inflated tax rates to support everybody else. This is a big problem brewing on the back burner. This is a big problem, folks, and it could really wreck the nation's economy and really hurt a lot of people. I think AI is largely going to be regretted because of this. It's going to be heavily regretted, especially in the private sector. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. I will see you again next week with similar content. Thank you for your time, commitment again this year. It's free to subscribe.